Yo, what's up, YouTube? We're back. Two Dope Boys in Barbershop. My name's Dope Boy A.
Dope Boy O.
And today we're talking about a Twitter thread I came across. Gay couple were on an Amtrak train, and a random dude walks up to them and pretty much name calling, tell both their kids that the couple's an abomination, that p***os, I can't say p***os on YouTube. I have to.
We'll edit that out.
I have to edit that out. What else they say? They say he just goes abomination.
They're gonna molest you.
All over the place with it. So yeah. So that's the topic we're covering. It's multi-layered, of course. So off top. Let's hit up home random dude that just verbally attacked him for no reason.
Then later on the thread, old boy says that I guess the man approached his son in the bathroom.
Yeah,
it's later. I'm like, that's wild. That means you've been scoping the situation out for a minute. Waited till the kid went to the bathroom and approached the kid in the bathroom. What made you think this is okay?
What he's accusing them of, he's coming off as.
You were coming off as real predatory.
What you outlined is probably what happened. He peeped them, wait for a child is by himself, and that's another topic. I don't care how old my kid is. I got two. None of them are going to the restroom without me until they're in their teens. Yeah, that's how I'm rolling.
Teen, what are you talking about, teen 10?
13. I'm standing right outside the door.
Oh, that's different. I thought you meant actually in the bathroom.
No, I'm standing right outside the door.
That's different.
I'm bodyguard.
No. We said without me. I thought you meant in the bathroom.
I realized that as I'm telling you. I'm like, no, let me say outside.
I look at you like, wait a minute. Whoa.
No. I'm going to be outside the door, women's bathroom. Just looking like Secret Service.
Like one of the Nation of Islam brothers.
Oh, yes. Secret Service is right there.
Well, I know that makes sense. Like, hey, yo, bro.
Yeah, that's the one bathroom. What the fuck you doing?
Yeah, no, 100%. That makes sense.
So that's one part. But homeboy follows, and they give, I think the kid's about 8 years old.
Yes.
So to attack,
he was single digits.
You are an adult talking to the kid, using terms the kid's probably not even that familiar with.
Looking like, what are you talking about?
Exactly. And that kid just knows them as his parents. That's it. And you're pretty much painting them as something that they're not. I don't want the perception.
I understand. I understand. Because once again, he has no idea who these people are.
You're
making assumptions based on what you've seen, which tells me that you've been scoping them. My man says in the middle of a 9-hour ride they were on. I don't know how much of this 9-hour ride the man was on with them on the train, which tells me you've been doing a lot of watching and a lot of thinking. Mm-hmm. Weirdo. He was yelling it out. You get the courage now to walk up to him and yell it out. Watch out, kids. They're gonna get you. They're gonna rape you. They're gonna take advantage of you. Like, yo.
And you're inadvertently damaging these kids they're foster children, right? So they already had a tough upbringing to begin with. Now you are yelling at them about their parents in front of a train filled with people that they don't know. So now they might feel some type of way of how they're being looked at.
Train conductor had to come over, stop the train, and do all that. The cops had to come around.
You created another dramatic event for kids that probably already had a series of dramatic events.
When people get that mad at gay people, there's some other issues going on for me.
I assume that too.
Because when I see them, like, what are you people minding their business? What are you so upset for? Bro, are there some underlying things that you haven't addressed in yourself?
Unless you see a warning sign, outside of them being gay, unless you see a warning sign, the boy is acting funny, or the little girl acting funny.
They touch him in weird ways.
There could be a series of signs to where you might feel like I need to intervene. Doesn't seem like that was the case in the story.
No, not at all. Not at all. Because cops were talking to him and the cops left him alone. Kids are over there crying for like an hour. I mean, I get it. He's 8 years old or younger for the sister, and you already got this weird dude yelling at you. Probably full emotion and rage, eyes, demonstrative. he didn't say he was drunk, so I'm not gonna assume he was intoxicated or anything. He's clearly sober, just going crazy, just yelling, all kind of slurs and just it's bad behavior. I'll say this, whether it's correct or it's not. I wouldn't have a problem with being bothered by the race. I don't know if I would have yelled it out at the couple. The race was one thing. Homophobia is a different thing. I separate the two because it's pure homophobia. It's like there's nothing based in here. The race, I just get nervous off of experience and just the way things are sometimes. I think I've told you a couple stories. One story is one of my clients, his sister works for one of the school districts around here. I can't remember which one. Her coworker, him and his husband had adopted this black girl. Beautiful little black girl. She has curly hair. They didn't know what to do with it. They were asking her questions, how to deal with it, how to go about the process of taking care of it. She gives them all the notes they can. Boom. A month later, she asked them, how's the little girl doing? They said, oh yeah, we had to turn her in. We ended up getting a white baby.
So why was it solely because of the hair they sent the kid back?
That was the initial response. Was in regards to that. Because they kept complaining about how difficult it was getting ready in the morning with the hair. It's a long process. This is the first conversation. How long the process is, how difficult it is, how trying it is. They don't know what to do. They didn't think about it before they adopted her. They didn't think it was gonna be this hard. And lo and behold, come back a month later, she's gone. Which I'm like, if it's really about the attitude or circumstances, you wouldn't have taken her back or just complain about the hair and hair only.
Well, there are people that do shit like that.
That's
not just with any like black kids or white kids. They do it with. I've also heard stories about white kids being sent back because they're too difficult.
Right. That's
Are they
difficult.
special needs?
But okay, that's special needs. That's not hair.
But that's why I asked you specifically. Did they tell her?
Oh yeah. Sending back special needs. That's one thing. That's totally different. But just hearing the context of the hair, because that's how it was framed
in the first conversation.
Yeah.
But when she asked them, "What are you doing with them?" and they said we had to send it back, did they tell her?
They didn't imply. I told you the story before because they didn't imply anything that there was any other serious issues that were there.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Like there wasn't anything that they implied in regards to another issue, trauma, something else going on. And then on top of that, whether it's black, brown, Samoan, Native American, Asian,
some people shouldn't adopt children.
What are you, Mr. or Mrs. White people, going to teach these non-white babies about their culture? And I hate, oh my God, I hate with passion. I don't see color. I don't see race. We're all the same. No, we're not the same. We are not the same. Our experience is not the same at all. What are you going to teach them? I know at least somebody who at least is non-white can relate to some form of oppression, discrimination, something. It's not the same, but you can at least relate in some form of avenue, right? You can't relate at all.
I would have to disagree with you.
You can't.
Not with white people. We're assuming other brown people can relate with other black folk.
No, I'm not saying that you can relate all the way. What I'm saying is that you've gone through your own form, so you know what it looks like.
People aren't smart enough to connect the dots.
Not everybody. There's a lot of people that would. And this goes back to them actually through the system asking better questions when it comes time to
There's that, but there are also people who are brown. We live in Southern California.
There are people who just don't identify with who they are at all.
Not just only I don't identify who they are, there are other minority groups that look at other minority groups as if they're greater than, and they do not acknowledge some of the oppressions or issues all groups have.
Right.
They only acknowledge what their issues, impression their group have.
Absolutely.
Like, we're smart enough to where we would think, I felt this way in this situation, so I know this Hispanic kid, this Indian kid, Southeast Asian kid, or this whatever kind of color you want to throw.
Right.
We would be like, I've been in that situation. I know how you feel. A lot of people don't have that empathy.
So that's where
to even turn that on.
So that's where it comes down to the adoption system. To start asking better questions.
Yeah, I agree.
There are questions that you can ask. With that being said, because I agree with you on
I
that,
would
there
say
are
this
two
about
separate
the
groups that.
But I would also say I also understand the people working the adoption system. There are not enough people working it. There's a shitload of foster kids in the system.
I get that.
And they're overworked, and a lot of them are trying.
Right.
Which is the wrong way to take
That's
it.
an issue. So that means that
You need to hire more
people.
people.
Hire more people, and if you're not gonna hire more people, just make the process a little longer and ask better questions. These are actual lives that we're playing with. You put that person in the wrong hands with the wrong family, it's a whole lot that kid can go left or can go right. Because you're dealing, and once again, we can talk about there are people who only see their perspective in this. What you said is valid. Let's say you have a group of black people and they look at their experience only. You have some in that same group who can identify everyone else, right? What I'm talking about specifically is how a whole group of people, white people, what experience do you have to relate from personal, racial discrimination as far as not just simply in your neighborhoods, but largely as far as corporations, schools, police officers, things like that. Because all these varying communities, whether we acknowledge it or not, everyone's gone through something. So there will be people in these other communities who can relate at some point. Not everybody, there will be some.
All right, relate fully.
Or fully, and regardless. You know what I'm saying? Like, what can you do over here? And how are you going to be able to properly raise these children who are not white to understand not just where they come from, but what the world actually is? Well, I don't want to teach them that. Why not? Another example. You heard of Mike Tirico?
Mike Tirico is adopted.
But I'm still making a point. Mike Tirico, he's not adopted, but it still ties into this point about certain things. Have you heard his background story?
I know his baexbackground story. I know where you're going with it.
Right. So,
but we also know
we
that's
know
internally with him.
We should still explain it.
All right. Long story short, Mike Tirico, his mother is Italian. She was married to a white guy, about to marry a white guy. They have a moment where they separate. They get back together, they get married. While she's pregnant, baby comes out looking like Mike Tirico. Mike Tirico is going through life thinking, look at Mike Tirico.
You skipped the part. You skipped the part where the man told her not to have contact with the black family.
Oh no, I know. He tell his story. The white guy just leaves. Mike Tirico doesn't even know he's black. Mike Tirico thinks he's Italian because his mother has told him he's Italian.
And this ties back, even though it's not adoption, it still ties back to the point.
But
what are you actually teaching this black, brown, Native American, Asian?
I'm going to say this: they're not relatable.
They are,
because that's his biological mom that's lying to him.
So
he is living with the lie.
Literally, what are you teaching this kid about him?
But why would she is going with the idea that he's white to make her life easier? So why would she then teach him that he's black?
So same thing with these white people who are adopting non-white babies. They teach them that
but
make their life easier.
White kid, black kid, you are not going to tell him you're not black.
You're focusing in on the adoption versus the birth part. That's fine. You can focus on that. What I'm talking about directly is how if you have a situation where you don't want to deal with this conflict, deal with the situation, you just avoid it.
Who adopt the kids then?
I'm sure there are black people who are actually applying and aren't getting babies.
There are black people applying that have
that are actually babies. Not getting.
But there's more foster children than demand.
Of course.
So
once again, that goes to the system. We're just throwing out babies like cards.
Who's going to take care of the kids? Because the foster system already established and showed us it doesn't work.
Right.
So are we telling white people not to take care, not be open to the idea?
There are plenty of, matter of fact, there's more white people in this country, right?
Yes, which means
that there's substantially more white babies out there. There's a fascination with.
I'm not worried about the white babies. I want to know what happened with the black.
No, I got you. I'm just saying to you that it's not about segregation, but what are you going to relate to? And now we're looking at it saying there's plenty of other white babies out there that you could actually be going for. There's a fascination, especially with the celebrity world and the normal world with us, with white children.
This is true.
There's a fascination.
Mainly Asian kids. Asian kids are adopted way more.
Way
than
more.
Other groups.
It's amazing. And so that's why I wasn't just focused on black kids, I was just focused on other races as well. So it's kind of what's the fascination? Now we're coming down to their fetish. Is it like a thing, like you're showing the kid off almost like a prop? You can get a dog instead. What is it that's making y'all to say, I want this kid? I don't know if I want to teach them these things, right? Sandra Bullock with Jesse James, didn't she have a black kid at that time when Jesse was just going crazy?
He was a Nazi memorabilia collector.
And somehow you
hid
don't
it.
know as the man you sleeping with.
He somehow hit. That's what they claim.
Okay.
I don't know how he hides that.
I don't believe it.
Because it's a large I don't believe it either. Because it's a large collection he has. And it's like,
It was
wait,
large. It was massive.
You don't know he's doing this?
You don't know.
Like, how do you not? You guys live in the same house, right?
Listen.
How do you not see this
And
collection?
somehow you divorce this man. We're supposed to all believe it. It happened around the time you got your Oscar. Now it's like, oh, we believe it. Like,
Oh, well, he cheated on her. I don't think she left because of the Nazi stuff. She left because of the amount of chicks he cheated on her
which
with.
is another issue.
It was more than one.
No,
it was crazy.
It was, which is another issue in itself that you didn't leave for this stuff that you said that you were talking about how offensive and how bad it was. You didn't know. You left for everything else because you could have worked through like the Nazi stuff.
It was like she got hit with the ambulance. It was like 1 girl, 2 girl, 3 girl, Nazis, 4 girl, 5 girl. It's like, damn, she had to go.
She had to go.
She
She had to go.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where you look at it, you're saying like, all right, are you raising these kids to be black? The one person I give credit to is Charlize Theron, because I remember in an interview she said that she does work hard to let her, I think she has 1 or 2 kids that are black. No, I think it's 1. Know about his or her blackness, and that she teaches things about what's going on, not just in her country or South Africa, but also here historically, and doing the education process. And that, if somebody's doing that, I can't fault it because you're trying, right?
Yeah.
You're trying. But my thing still goes to the fascination, it's something like a fetish in a sense. They who have this weird
Fascination
with
with other, yes.
Told you a story about Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler's a UFC fighter. He wasn't Bellator, amazing fighter, UFC. His wife did missionary work in Africa. Her life goal was to adopt an African baby. That's weird, but sure, why not?
The white savior complex.
Yes, the white savior complex.
That's like a perfect example. I ride with you. Because it's like your whole life, that's all you want to do?
That's what you wanted. That's what
all you
that's
want
what
to
you
do.
wanted.
And to get with you on this point, there's a ton of kids in America that you can adopt. But you want to go to the motherland and get a black kid.
Because I think that you and I, it's absolutely crazy. I think you and I there's parts of the conversation we don't fully agree on. Because there's bits and bits here and there, but we agree on the main part of that. It's weird in a sense that there is a white savior complex. There is this fetish when it comes to people of people of non-whiteness. That there are people who are well-intentioned. I mentioned Charlize Theron. She's probably not the only one. I'm sure there's more others who are well-intentioned. But this goes back to the adoption process in general. We mentioned how poor it is. There's a variety that can be changed. And you're just tossing babies out to get them out there, which I get why you're doing that. But now they're setting up these kids for failure. Setting up these kids to have situations where they aren't going to maybe get the love or maybe the education or maybe be in the home that they should be in to be properly raised and have as balanced of a life as possible considering the circumstances that they were put in.
You said something earlier about the white savior complex being weird. Is it really weird?
Yeah, it's weird.
No, I mean
It's weird.
it's
weird.
It's not weird.
It's weird.
It's what they do.
That's
my
what,
point.
but it still makes it. No, I agree with you. It still makes it weird
It's
though.
what they do.
I know, but it still makes it weird.
Not all white folk, but
Damn near all of y'all.
there's that group that need to put the cape on.
Let's not say group. It's damn near all of them.
Put the cape on, and just try and fire it towards everything.
Don't say group because group implies a small number. It's damn near all
No,
of
the
them.
group doesn't apply to small. number.
Okay, well I apologize. It's just the way sometimes a group sounds. It always sounds like a small number.
They have to put that cape on and swoop it. I need to save everybody.
Regardless of political
Sit
side.
your ass down.
Regardless of your left or right or if you're left, it doesn't matter.
You're
Regardless.
Clark Kent before the cape and you're Clark Kent after the cape.
I'm a hero.
Nothing changed, bro.
I will save you.
So, I mean, I
It's
hear
still,
what you're saying.
It's still weird because no, you're right.
It's
That's the part.
expected for me. I'm like, oh.
Nah, that's gonna be.
I'm not shocked.
I watched a show on Hulu called Woke. Have you heard of it?
No.
The season 2 opens up where this lady's walking, white San Francisco, she's walking. She flips off the cops, saying, "Fuck you pigs," and just flips them off. Right? She gets on the bus. She's sitting next to this black guy. She scoots over and pulls her purse closer to her. He looks like whatever. This other white guy, "Hey, aren't you that author, that activist author who does a satire?" She's like, "Oh, yeah, you. I love your art. It's all over my wall." So before you knew who this man was, you thought he was a thief.
I agree with you at this point, and which I hate when people say, "I don't see color." Color exists. You don't have to ignore it. Recognize it and move on. When you have a kid, you like Charlize Theron. This is why I advocate. If you're gonna be white, you have to be willing to put forth the effort to teach that kid who he is or who she is.
That's valid.
Be willing to put him to work with the hair. I mean, there's a chick, that white woman with a black kid, her came out her vagina, teach her who she is, has tutorials on YouTube fixing that little girl hair.
That's
teaching
respect.
people
that's respect.
how to
That's
braid.
She
But
put
she's
in
putting
work. She's putting in work. That's
Put it in work. And that's what you gotta do. If you're gonna invest in a child, whether it's black, white, whatever, especially a kid from the foster, you gotta put in work. And if it's a child that's not of your race, you're gonna have to put in more work to connect with that kid, to make sure he know who he is. Because if you don't put in that work early, what's gonna happen when he or she are older? They're gonna lead into stereotypes because that's all they know.
That's all they've been told. That's all they see on the social media. Because social media will be their greatest teacher at that point.
Exactly.
And you're gonna be wondering.
So before that happens, you better put in that work. I agree with you on that. The whole I don't see color thing,
See that? You need to see that. That means you're diminishing the experience of other people.
Yes.
Which means that you're not even taking into account this kid's history, where parents have come from, what they're gonna encounter in the world, what's gonna happen when they get around other people who look like them, whether they are adults or kids. When if they go away to college or if they move away or do whatever, you on vacation, whatever happens, you can't ignore this. What also gets
Like, if you're gonna put in the effort, right? If you're gonna learn about the background genetically and whatnot, you have to put the effort in everything
y'all will
else.
ask all kind of drug-related questions, alcohol-related questions from the parents. You will ask
What
all
was the
the
parents?
questions.
The background with the parents. You're gonna want to know.
You can definitely put the work in. But just to sum up the whole video, the thread is very complicated.
It's very
The
complicated.
issue,
Multiple layers, especially with
the
this book.
homophobia, the race part, the adoption agency, just parenting in general. There's a lot of things that happen, and we both hope that those two kids are not scarred for life
From the incident.
Yeah, regardless of what we feel about everything else, we just hope that those kids are just not scarred. And
Able to move on.
yeah, we hope that the parents, however they're going to be able to help them move on from this, are able to do the best they can.
I am.